Good morning. Here we are back again. We are working on well, first of all, on the Backyard Renegade. Tell you, the Backyard Renegade came about when I first started building boats in the late 90s, and everybody wanted to charge me to do everything, and I found out that all the rules and regulations were available for free on the internet by the Coast Guard. And I got so mad I started a website and started doing stuff myself. So I do a lot of things, everything from silk screen to motor work to Excel spreadsheets to working on boats and stuff. I'm going to show you how to do that over the summer here. My background in boats is I'm a wooden boat builder that's used fiberglass and epoxy resin as an adhesive and to create structure in corners and things, kind of wood and epoxy hybrid boats. This is the first all fiberglass boat that I've worked on. I might have bit off more than I could chew as far as, taking a boat that I really want to clean up too much, but we're going to make it seaworthy anyway and show you how you can take a cheap boat that you find on the side of the road and put it back together in a way that you'd be safe to take on the water with you and your family. I plan on taking this out this weekend. So there's a few things. There's a crack in here in the seat. If I was going to put a motor on the boat, I would consider that a structural issue, but right now, just to row it around for me and the family, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I had some huge damage here that we've taken care of. If you go back to the old videos this year, I just kind of laid in a masking tape foundation, flipped the boat, worked the patch from the outside. You can see how I do all that, 12-to-1 bevels and stuff, and laid in all the fiberglass in the previous videos. Anyways, I'm going to do a lot of things this summer. One of my next projects is going to be some leather work for the bike, repairing some home appliances, and things like that. So, subscribe to the video and or to my channel or whatever, or follow it or whatever, so you get and hit notifications, whether it's YouTube or Twitch or whatever. And I'll be able to get my message out. I got a lot of things to show people, stuff that I've learned how to do over the years. I'm kind of a handy guy with crafting and stuff. Like I say, leather work, metal work, whatever. And we're going to show you how to do a lot of that this summer here. Anyway, I'm going to get started. Today we're going to what I did here, and you can go back to the old videos, is I put in I literally just laid in tape over the holes. Then I went on the outside and I put some fiberglass on the tape to stiffen it up a little bit, and just started building from there. Now I'm going to grind the tape off the inside. I should have used wider tape, and maybe cellophane tape would have been better. I was just kind of fooling around. It not a technique I'd seen before. I mean, it worked. It did okay. I'll show you when I flip this over in a little bit, or you can go back to the old videos and see how it looks on the outside before I get to finishing it. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind this down a little bit and just lay some glass in there. It's patched. The hole is patched. I just want to make it comfortable inside, so you don't have rough edges and tape and everything in there. So we'll go from there. Let's see what I can see. Unfortunately, I'm using a GoPro Max, and one issue is I can't really change the view or the screen depth or width once I start videotaping. So I've got a lens cover on here, so I'm going to go ahead and put it a little bit closer, and we'll see what we can do, if we can get a good look at what I'm doing here. I have to talk about a couple of things. First of all, as soon as I start touching anything that has to do with epoxy, even when I'm working here until everything's painted, mixing epoxy, grinding, especially grinding epoxy, but as much mixing it too, and we've talked about that before, the fumes from epoxy are not pretty. They're just not good at all. It's 146. Hey Jess, how you doing? So I'm gonna wear a mask and gloves whenever you're working with epoxy. Simple as that. Don't even fool around with it. You don't want to get sensitized to epoxy. You don't want to develop an allergy to the hardeners in the epoxy, which is what happens. And listen, it gases in the air. It's pretty nasty stuff if you don't take care of yourself. And I've said it before, I'll say it again one more time. I'm 64 years old with COPD. It's 80-something degrees out here. I'm huffing and puffing like a champ. The humidity is through the roof, and I'm about to put a mask on. So that should give you a little bit idea how serious this stuff is. So anyways, again, I'm Scotty, the Backyard Renegade, working on this boat. I'm going to let you take a look at what I'm going to do here today. Oh, and I forgot to say, welcome to the backyard. Headphone warning. If you're listening at all with headphones out there, I'm about to start the sander. Starting the sander. Give me a second, I'll clean up the lens. Okay, I'm going to give this a minute for the air to calm down before I take the mask off. So, we'll take you around with us here. Let's anyways, I'm just checking the view here. That's right, that's kind of low. All right, very good. So this is what we're looking at. I had tape in here. I think I can take this mask off now. I had tape in here inside just to make a mold, you know, just to kind of make a form. The whole idea of this boat was I wanted to be able to fix it with just everyday stuff around the house and, you know, a little bit of fiberglass or whatever, but, you know, stuff that most people have access to. I used this to make the mold. I probably should have used the wider clear tape. I think it would have made for smoother inside. I wouldn't have had so much to grind, but it doesn't matter. I was able to fill in and grind this up, and, you know, that's what I needed to do. I just want to get the last couple chunks of this out of here. Kind of made a mess with it, but it was, you know, something I just wanted to try and see if I could actually make them with masking tape. Usually I would use like styrofoam or something like that and then just cut it away after. Like I said, I wanted to try an experiment here, and it worked. You know, a little bit more messy to pick up. And, you know, scrape this up. This tool here, it's a sheetrock, you know, knife. But I use it for scoring. You can use it to really score up edges, especially with wood. I happen to have it in my arsenal because of the woodwork, but, you know, it's working here too. I'm trying to get a little bit more of the masking tape out. I mean, it will be inert in the patch, really, and it should probably soak in and become part of the patch. You know, so I'm not really too worried about it. I've just scored everything up good. Now, quite frankly, I'm just going to lay a little bit of fiberglass in here and send it. You know, we're going to go out and try the boat, see if we like it, if it's big enough, and if it's nice and the right boat, maybe over the winter time I'll restore it up and make it look real pretty. But for right now, I just want to see if it works. Give me a second to catch my breath, if you will. I am a 64-year-old boomer here with COPD, like I mentioned before, and it's kind of hot out, so it takes me a second to catch up. That's all. Here we go. All right. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up some mud. I'm going to spread it in there. And I'm just going to go ahead. Well, first I'm going to do a little bit of the edges with a little bit of sandpaper. I'm sorry. Just to rough it up, make sure it sticks right. And then I'm going to go ahead and just throw some what we call mud down, or peanut butter. Show you how to make that with epoxy and wood flour here. But anyways, let me just get to it. All right. This is fiberglass tape, and I'm going to use 4-inch on the back, and I'm going to use 6-inch on the front. This is 6-ounce tape for the most part in this kit. You know, 6-inch wide, 3-inch wide, 2-inch wide. You know, pieces like that. We've got some, you know, rolls from back when I was building the wooden boats and using this basically as a seams for the seams, what we call stitch and tape construction. You can look that up online. I'll be doing a tack and tape hybrid stitch and tape boat here in a couple of weeks. We're going to do a build, so please, you know, like and subscribe, or like and follow, and you'll know when I'm going to start doing these videos. The first part of that video will be going online and designing the boat with some free software, and then we're going to sit down and build it. And it's going to be all built from easily accessible building materials, nothing special. We'd probably be able to make a 14-foot boat for under $500 or $600 in 3 or 4 weekends, and throw it up in the back of a pickup truck and go out with the kids. So anyways, there's my 4-inch piece. Sorry, I'm losing track of myself. It is a little warm. Whew. Okay, so anyways. Right. Now this stuff, fiberglass cuts, this is a regular cheap pair of scissors, probably from the dollar store. Just keep a few pairs around and go through them, because you know you're going to get epoxy on them. Don't try to use your house scissors. Somebody will get mad, trust me. But like I say, this stuff, it's not like Kevlar or anything. You don't anything special to cut it. I'm sure you can see this right here. Just cuts right through. No effort. And there we go. Okay. Now we're going to mix up some epoxy and lay it in. Nice and... we'll make a little bit thick. We just got to bury the glass in the fluid. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about epoxy while I'm mixing here. The most important thing about epoxy is to have a complete mixture. That means mixing it for 1 to 2 minutes. I actually usually end up mixing for about 1¼ to 1.5 minutes. It's very important. We're using today a Total Boat 2-to-1 hardener to resin, a resin to hardener. And Total Boat provides these pumps that give you the right amount. So for every 1 pump of this, you will use 1 pump of that, and you get your right mixture. Okay. So it's a little warm, and I am a little out of breath. So hopefully I can get my points across here quickly. So. I'm sorry, one thing I wanted to do here was really quickly just scuff up the edges a little bit where I couldn't get in with the grinder, and just to make sure it sticks well in here. See, I've got to get a little bit more of that tape out of there. Sorry about that, folks. Put my mask back on. It's a process. And the rest of that's to bury in nicely. But we're not going to. That's right on the edge, so I'm going to go ahead and keep digging it. Okay, gonna mix up some epoxy. And start putting down the tape. And we'll talk about fiberglass. Hopefully this will go quickly. As I said before, always have a drip bucket. Once you start pumping these, you'll have drips. And any hardener that doesn't mix with epoxy, well, it won't cure, and then it's just there. Four, 5, 6. And it's really the hardener that's not good for you. The catalyst. Now the most important thing about working with epoxy is the mix time and how thorough your mix is. This is the boring part, but you've got to mix for 1.5 to 2 minutes anyway. And I try to kind of count in my head while I'm talking, you know, so bear with me. Again, you got a 2-to-1 pit here, which means they provided the pumps. The blue pump is going to be 2 parts, and the red pump's going to be 1 part. So 1 pump of each to make the exact mix. Epoxy is different than polyester. Polyester, you add a little bit more hardener, it goes off a little quicker, it cures a little quicker. With epoxy, the mixture is the mixture. I'm using a medium speed right now hardener, and you can get faster or slower hardeners to adjust the speed of the cure, which I used to do when I worked on wooden boats, but I knew what I was doing there. Anyways, we got about 30-40 seconds now, maybe. Wait a second here. Always make sure, like I say, listen, mixing the epoxy is the most important part of the whole thing. Every 2 molecules of resin needs to touch 1 molecule of hardener. Any part that isn't exactly like that isn't hardened, and it's in the mixture. And I mean, epoxy's pretty much overkill for a lot of this work, so it's not serious. But if you leave, again, uncured hardener, now that's not good for you. That's kind of toxic too. I am wearing a mask while mixing this. A lot of people wear masks only while sanding because of the fiberglass, because epoxy doesn't smell, or doesn't smell bad. But trust me, you do not want that gassing off into your lungs. It can create huge issues. You can develop a sensitivity over time with like an allergy. And yeah, it can be real bad. So, let's see what we can do here. Jess, if you're watching, remind me to get more brushes today. I'm on my last brush. I said it before, it's always going to be easier to push fiberglass into a wet surface than to try to push epoxy through dry fiberglass. So you'll notice I put 80% of my liquid down first, you know. And then just use the brush after that to kind of cover the top, you know. I'll show you. Putting a lot of liquid down here. It's a lot easier that way. You can see the fiberglass is white, and as it starts to fill with fluid, it turns clear. That's what we're looking for. We want that nice and full. Fiberglass is to hold resin. Resin is to fill glass. They always go together. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get a little crazy here in a minute. So I'm not liking all this air down here. I'm seeing a lot of air in some of these corners. See if we can fill them up. I'm sorry, right now my eyes are, my glasses are fogged up. But what I'm trying to do is use the brush to push any air bubbles out, fill up any air pockets, make sure it's all nice and clear. A little bit left right there. Oh boy, I hope you guys can see all that. Darn it. I hope you were looking. And that, remember, the fiberglass was white. And now it's nice and clear. And I'm going over it to make sure there's no more white spots. Because that's where air is. We don't want any air. Like I say, a lot of people try to put the fluid down, the epoxy down after, and well, even if my camera wasn't on, you saw the time how quickly I was able to do that by putting the juice down first, and this went right out nice. So there we go. That's going to be the inside of the boat. I need a couple more ounces back here and we'll be done. It's going to be a quick day today. I'm going to use, I think 2 ounces is going to be enough. And I'm going to go 3 because I can always go back and fill a little more. Alright, so I've got 3 ounces of each here. I want to talk while I'm mixing again about fiberglass work. More epoxy does not make it stronger. Alright? Laying down more epoxy doesn't make it stronger. You fill the matte material with the glass that you have, and that's it. It's strong. That's the strength it adds. Piling more on top doesn't help any. The same way as piling on layers of epoxy doesn't add any structural integrity, doesn't add any strength to a hull either. You know, in 10 seconds. Gonna breathe for a second while I keep track of the time here and mixing. For about 30 seconds or so here. You want to mix it a minute to 2 minutes, minute 15, minute 30 easy. Listen, epoxy resins, any part that doesn't get mixed isn't going to cure. It can gas off later, and it's not as strong, obviously. So take your time. Mixing isn't where you save. Always wear gloves and a mask, right? I'm at about 50 seconds now, I think. Make sure you do a real good mix. Move it around, right? I'm going to show you again. This time I'm going to try to make sure, in fact, I'm going to remount the camera here to make sure you can see it this time. Alright. Okay. So, hopefully you can see that. And again, I'm working with epoxy that's not cured and hardener that's not cured, so I am wearing a mask, and that's why I'm a little difficult to hear right now. Okay, so I mixed up 3 ounces of epoxy. The fiberglass is white. It's because it's got air in it, okay? The idea is to fill the fiberglass, and the best way to see if it's filled is when there's no more white. A lot of people try to put down the fiberglass and then push resin down in. You're pushing it down into air. That's not the way. Do it backwards. Put the glue down first. I hope you can see this. Let me just look back here. Yes. So watch the color of the fiberglass as it begins to soak in the epoxy resin. This is what we're looking to do here. See how it fills up nice? That's filling up nice. Because I laid that fluid down first. Made it a lot easier on myself. Again, imagine trying to push a thickened liquid through the material and make it stick to something that's dry underneath. That's it. That's the inside patch. That's all we needed to do here. So anyway, you saw how it was white. It's all nice and clear now. That's the old patch that you're looking at, that little white there, okay? But the glass is clear. There's no air bubbles. And that should stick real nice. Gonna put you back on the mount for a minute. that's pretty much it, folks. I guess I could make this video longer, but I won't. I drop one quick and let you know. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna move away from here because I can still smell the epoxy and there's no need for me to be here right now. And I don't have my mask on because I'm just too hot. So rather than stick around, I have two choices: leave my mask on or leave the area. So right now I'm just gonna leave the area for a minute. There we go. And let me get my bearings back here, folks. Backed away for a second, catch my breath. Anyway, we'll go take a quick peek here again at what we did today. The wind is blowing good. I'm downwind now, so I'm not as concerned with the fumes. Don't let the epoxy fumes get you. You can see what I did in here. We just ground down that patch inside and just put tape over it. It's adhered and stuck real good to a 12-to-1 bevel on the outside, so it's not going anywhere. I basically did this inside for aesthetics and just so it'd be comfortable on your feet. This is just the back side of the patch. You can see 2 of the 3 holes that were in this hull. They had drilled all kinds of holes back here. We filled it up on the outside with this, and now we just filled it on the inside to hold it together. This boat has some other damage. So we're going to put it in the water at this point, see if we even like it. If we like it and we think it's worth keeping, maybe I'll make it a winter project, really restore it out, paint it up, and make it look nice. But anyways, on the Backyard Renegade, this was part 7 of the Lil Crabbie, and we'll see you next time. Be sure to listen, follow, and you know, hit the notifications, so you know when I'm going live. I get a lot of interesting projects I want to do this year. I hope people will be interested. I'd certainly like to get the word out. You can follow me on Twitter too. Been on Twitter for a month and a half as the Backyard Renegade. I have 0 followers. So if you want to get up there, you can get up there and help me pass the word around out there too. And YouTube. Thanks a lot. Bye.